Welcome to this episode of Your Property Business, the video podcasts that help you get the most out of your own property business.
Can you tell me a bit about your journey, almost your property CV, and sort of tell me about your thought processes about how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You mentioned I started 10 years ago. It was well over 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I was very fortunate that this is going way back now, when I turned 18, I was very fortunate that I had a savings account mature. And it's not huge, we're talking, it was a little over 10 grand, I think it was. And at the time, my parents were really, they allowed my siblings and I to kind of use that money how we wanted. We had free reign.
Yeah.
And they encouraged us. They said, if you want to buy a property with it, if you want to buy a house, we will help you. We will help you with the process, as in finding something, helping you through the purchase, the conveyancing, and then getting it set up as a buy-to-let. And but the catch was we had to pay for everything. So at 18, I was out to work, and I said, I didn't fancy going on a holiday. I don't really care too much about fancy cars. So I said, yeah, go on, then I'll take you up on the offer, sort of thing. And so I put that money into a buy-to-let. It was a very simple end terrace, 2-bedroom property, mid-80s. Hadn't had much done to it, so it was in a bit of a state. And we bought this. I think it was about 157.
Yeah.
157, 500, something like that. Around about that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little while ago, in a really lovely area, I might add, very close to where our family home was at the time. And with that then became a buy-to-let. We didn't do a huge amount to it. We got it set up, very, very quickly, and it let out instantaneously due to the area. And it sat there for probably about 4 years or so, just a very simple buy-to-let ticking over, until it came to time when my wife and I, then girlfriend, wanted to move out. We'd both finished university. We wanted to move out. And so we had to, unfortunately, politely ask the tenants to leave, and then refurbished it to a really high standard. Obviously, we were going to live there, so this was not your typical, your typical job. We took out a wall to open up some of the space. It wasn't quite back to brick, but it was close to it. And we refurbished the entire property to a really high standard, and then moved in and lived there for about, again, 4 or 5 years or so. And it then came to the point where we were looking for a slightly bigger property, and this self-build opportunity came up, and we saw it and almost wrote it off as like, that's not something we were even considering. It wasn't even on our radar. But the more we thought about it, we were like, well, we've done one refurbishment, this is just a bit bigger. How hard can it be? And just little by little, we sort of convinced ourselves that, maybe we could do it. Started making some inquiries, and then we looked at kind of the equity we had managed to accrue in the previous property, having bought it a long time ago, and also having done the work to push up the value.
Yeah.
And then sort of looked like the numbers might stack up. Like if we could get the lending, and if we pooled our resources from the equity we had and the savings we had, it meant that we could maybe just make this self-build thing work. And that's exactly what we did. So it was a very, very long process to buy the plot and to complete the works. But the end result is what you see around me. This is it. This is now our residential. We live here. We love it here. It's, again, fantastic area, and we were able to build this place, completely to our own spec, particularly on the inside, as to internal configuration and the spec and everything.
Yeah.
So that again is a bit of a big jump, going from one refurbishment to what was a sort of pseudo self-built project. And since then, we focused on sort of raising a family, and that has then been the next kind of catalyst, if you like, in terms of doing the next bit. So the next bit is now, you know, I'm really keen to build out our buy-to-let portfolio to a more substantial part of our wealth, our income. After having seen, seeing my two boys staring back at me, and I'm thinking, my goodness, if it was hard now, what on earth is it going to be like when my boys are 18?
Yeah.
And that really is the motivation to now scale up, and that's why we're now, I'm pleased to say, we're in the process of acquiring our next project, which, like you mentioned, is going to be an HMO. Really exciting. That was exactly what I was looking for in terms of the next, type of property, what strategy we were going to go for. Was to look for an HMO that was ticks all of the boxes, and this absolutely does that. Really excited. I'm hopeful that in a few months' time I'll be able to share more about that project once the purchase goes
Looking forward to seeing the photos and videos. I'm sure that'll be publicised somewhere. That'll be
really
fantastic.
Really
I've got